All right, can we talk about something that a lot of women face? Have you ever had a short-term relationship after a long-term relationship, and the breakup after the short-term relationship, even if it was only a couple months, feels worse than your divorce of maybe 20 years? Talk about confusion. Well, a lot of people deal with this, and they think to themselves, okay, what's wrong with me? They probably judge themselves, but let me talk about why this happens, because it's kind of confusing. You would normally think that a relationship that doesn't last as long would be less intense when it ends, but it's not actually the whole story. So, hi, my name is Andrea Hunt, and I'm a Heartbreak to Healing EFT tapping coach, and I help women after heartbreak, after divorce and breakups to rebuild their confidence and create a life that they genuinely love and deserve. So one of the things that I've noticed is that women carry so much shame around, the short relationship. Also, let's be honest, known as a rebound, ladies. So people will be like, I can't believe I'm crying over somebody that I only knew a month and then they ghosted me. Or I can't believe I had a 3-week or 3-month relationship with this person that I thought this was the one. I felt alive again. I felt invigorated. I felt appreciated, loved, sexy, desired. And then it fizzled out. So let's talk a little bit about this because we want to try to make sense of it. So this pain makes sense. And why this happens is, imagine you just come out of a relationship that lasted 5, 10, 20 years, and maybe the whole world has fallen apart. Okay, everything that you thought you would have growing into your old age, maybe your retirement, your whole life has just crumbled. You're grieving and you don't even know who you are anymore. And your nervous system feels completely overwhelmed. It feels just like you are completely lost. And then somebody comes along. They make you laugh. You start feeling cherished again. You start doing all these things that maybe your other old partner didn't want to do or they couldn't give you these things. They text you every morning. Maybe they're flirty with you. They tell you you're beautiful and sexy, and you feel like you still got it, and you start to feel like you're, back to your old self again. And maybe for the first time in months, years, whatever, you feel like yourself, a greater, better version of yourself. You feel attractive, you feel chosen. But it's just maybe for a little while. And then that pain gets quieter that you didn't really deal with yet from your long breakup or the divorce. But the real reason that this new breakup hurts is because what you don't realize is that it wasn't necessarily that you fell deeply in love with this new person. It's that they became attached to your healing. So without meaning to, and maybe you didn't do it on purpose. A lot of people don't realize that they're doing this or making some kind of a choice. But if you started believing, maybe this is what's going to get me through, and then I don't even have to think about that other person anymore. I'm fine. I don't need to grieve. I'm happy now. This old person could not give me all of this, and now I'm doing fine. Look at me go. I'm good. But that new person becomes relief, hope, distraction, maybe a really good intimacy, okay? Proof that life can feel good again. All of the possibilities of a new future. And so when that short-term relationship ends, you're not only grieving that and that possibility and that hope, you're grieving the loss of that hope that you allowed yourself to feel again. And it's because your original heartbreak was never fully processed. It's all still there. And now you're carrying both losses at once. All this compounded pain that just feels absolutely overwhelming. So the lesson is just don't blame yourself. We all do things that we get confused by in a moment of heartbreak and weakness and, feeling very sensitive and lost. And that's human, because healing and relief are not the same thing. So the relief helps you stop feeling the pain, the hurt for a while, but the healing changes your relationship with that original pain. So that's why I encourage women to spend some time rebuilding themselves alone before jumping into another relationship. I know, I get it. It's so much easier to kind of be in a place where you're feeling happy and hopeful again instead of processing the old pain, but you're not being fair to yourself because you're not really moving through the heartbreak. You're just kind of delaying it and putting it on the back burner. And it's going to be there at some time or another that you're going to have to deal with. So I encourage you to spend the time alone. I know that it's hard. I know that it takes a lot of courage and bravery not to just kind of shut down and not think about it. But When you've had time to heal, you're choosing somebody from a place of wholeness, not survival or some broken part of you that needs to be healed. So if this is your story, I hope you can let go of some of that shame and the self-blame that might be coming along with it. Please forgive yourself. You didn't fail. You were trying to survive one of the hardest experiences of your life in the best way that you knew how, with the best tools that you have. But when we know better, we can do better. And I can help you. Because now your job is not to judge yourself, it's to gently begin healing one step at a time. So if you're in that place right now, trying to untangle one heartbreak from another, I want to invite you to my free 3-day workshop that's coming up in August, the Heartbreak to Healing workshop that's August 25th, 26th, and 27th. We're going to talk about why heartbreak affects you so deeply and is hard to let go of, and how to regulate your nervous system, process your emotion, where that pain might be tied to something else in your past, in your childhood, or other relationship as old wounds. And we're going to be talking about creating a life that feels like you again, and a life that you love and that you truly do deserve to have after heartbreak. The registration will be opening soon, so stay tuned. I would love to have you join us. So if this kind of resonated with you, go ahead and like, follow, and subscribe. Click the button below, and I hope to see you August 25th. Bye, guys.